Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of the CD Sport Podcast with me, Kerry Davis. Joining us today is BKB champ and recently signed to BKFC. Lights out, James Lilley. What's happening, James?
Hi, Kerry, mate. You okay?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Appreciate you coming on, giving up your time.
I finally got it done, mate. I just, like I said to you, with my work schedule and training, it's hard to pin me down for anything.
No, it's been, I think even when you announced when you signed for BKFC, I messaged you not long after. And like you said, we've had to rearrange it 3 or 4 times, but like you said, we're getting it done now. So yeah, I'm happy. So what's the latest with the BKFC? I've seen you been teasing us a bit on social media, fight news coming and all that jazz. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, I've got a date. It's in December and obviously it's out in America. I'm just waiting on my bout agreement. The way they work, you've got like a fight contract, a promotional contract, and then it's a bout agreement. Now, I don't care who I fight. I've said it's just going to be a yes for me. Whatever it could be King Kong. Like I'm going to say yes. You know, I want to get my foot in the door. I want to get out there and fight and go from there. The name they're teasing is quite a big name in BKFC. So we're just waiting for the bout agreement. And because they got so many shows, some fighters, like they just announced Mike Perry, they're super busy. So, and I'm not the most patient man. So I'm going to be looking to be fighting in 6 or 7 weeks. And I keep saying it's going to be this week, but it could be the latest they do is 4 weeks before. The 2 weeks before I get my bout agreement, but it's likely December, and it's going to be a nice one.
Awesome. Do you know where in America have they told you that? Yeah,
there's I think there's a city called Hollywood in Florida. That's where they're hoping to do it. It's between Miami and a place called Fort Lauderdale, is it?
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
It's on the coast of Florida. So I had a look at it. Like the hotel, casino thing they're all about doing it in is amazing. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice one to. Yeah, it's gonna be like my missus thinks I'm going all day. She's like, "Oh, you're going away for a week," but I'm not. Like, I'm going over there to fight. She doesn't realize the week I'm out there, I'm gonna be cutting weight and stuff. So she thinks it's a but it's not. It's just, I'm gonna be watching Miami from a hotel room. So it's not great. Like,
will you after the fight? Will you stay out there after, or will you be straight home? You don't know.
I think the fight date they got is a Friday, so I think they're gonna probably fly us back on either the Saturday night or the Sunday morning. So, don't get me wrong, I'll be able to do a bit of drive around the area, but we'll be training as well. So, it's going to be nice. It's going to be like a little flag to put on my CV, but it's not going to be the type of after parties and stuff.
No,
yeah,
not going to be partying in the big Miami clubs.
Yeah, maybe when I get a name and I fight for their belt, it'll be a bit different then. But at the minute, I'm not a name in that organization. So when I get a name, I can start pretending I'm Conor McGregor and stuff.
What? Like I'm quite big into my MMA, so obviously the BKFC, the weights they call it a bit different, don't they? Like, so what weight would you be going in at? Super welterweight?
Well, the BKFC they do it the same as the UFC. So yeah, they do the same. BKB is different. They do it in stone, and it's like every half a stone's a weight. It's a little bit like boxing, but they start at a slightly higher weight because they do on the day weigh in. So, for example, like I fought at 73 kilos, which in boxing's middleweight.
Yeah.
In MMA would be welterweight, and in BKB is class as bantamweight. I think it's going to change. Like I think MMA's got the right idea at the moment with the weights, but in BKFC it's going to be UFC MMA weight. So I'll be fighting at 155, possibly 145, but definitely not 145 for December. It's too late now for me to start cutting that much weight, but 155 I could do comfortable. I'll do 145. It's like a massive fight. But the big names at the minute, they're at 155 and what's welterweight? It's 175, is it, or 180?
Yeah, I wrote a note. I wrote on here. It says lightweight is 135. Johnny Bedford, the champ, and super welterweight is 155.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they changed the names because they put up the rankings the other day, and Luis Palomino is the champ, and the 155 champ.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's the division I'm going in, and obviously they've just signed Chad Mendes, and Mike Perry's going to go in at the middleweight division. So some big names are signing at the minute. It's looking good for that.
They got some massive, like you said, it always constantly signing some big names, and like I wrote some down there. Obviously, you got the Haughty played Van Zant in the mix, and Hector Lombard, Thiago Alves,
Yeah, exactly. Like the women as well. They got who did they sign the other day? Rachel Ostrovich and Pearl Gonzalez. Like, So, they grow, and I know they've had like when I spoke to the promotional team, they've had like a big investment recently. They got quite a lot of people on board, like on their board of investors, and they're massive names. Like they're like ex-NBA stars. What's that rapper called? Pitbull, is it?
The ball guy.
Yeah, that's
him. Yeah,
Pitbull.
The one he invested, is he?
He invested in it. Yeah, so they've had a massive investment. So I can only see it getting bigger. Like at the moment, it's approved in 22 states in America. I think they're all about going into Vegas next year, and I think once you get into Vegas, it's just gonna, it's gonna be approved everywhere. Like, it was like UFC. It was only, can you remember the first UFC card in New York? Because it didn't get approved there for ages. It was the one where DC was holding the towel in the way and cheating away. Like,
fuck yeah, because New York is relatively new to it all, isn't it? Mixed martial arts.
Yeah. Even though the New York Athletic Commission is one of the oldest in the world, that's where everyone used to go to get their advice. They're like, but because it's yours, they're like dinosaurs. They didn't like MMA, and I can remember, like, it must have been about 4 or 5 years ago. They were on about getting the license, and it got approved. The UFC went in there straight away, and obviously they do fights like every other weekend now. So it's just waiting for once the other states start falling in line. Like BKFC's going to New York in 12th of November, so they're already in New York. So once that starts happening, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger.
And BKFC is all the fights that have been in the US too, have they? They won't go abroad. Yeah.
They've announced 2 cards, one in Thailand and and one in Russia. And the reason being, I think there's 2 bare knuckle organizations over there, and they've got BKFC fighters living in Russia and Thailand. So I think they're either bought the company or they've done a partnership with them. That's what I think, reading between the lines, and they're got to expand. Like, so they'll be in England, I think, next year as well at some point.
Yeah. Fuck, no doubt Russia. Like, have you seen some of the crazy like fighting in Russia? Like they have the matches they have, and the bare knuckle.
Yeah, they had one in a World War II bunker, didn't they? With what's his name? Lobov, Artem Lobov. He fought in it.
Did he?
Yeah, he lost, and he retired. Then it was like an old World War II bunker, and then inside the bunker they had a ring made out of sandbags. Like,
fuck. And Artem Lobov, he's like quite a big name, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, UFC. I think he was pretty much their biggest name at the time, and then obviously he fought Malinaji, which is another massive name in boxing. So they got the money and they're getting the names there, so I can't see. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
As you mentioned, like Malinaji, obviously you've done a bit of boxing yourself. Like, obviously the main difference is you got gloves on, haven't you?
Yeah.
What's 8-ounce gloves in boxing, aren't they? In a proper match, is it 8 ounce?
It's 8 ounce if you're under 10 stone 7, and it's 12 if you're over. Right.
Okay. So obviously, there's a massive difference, is there, boxing and bare knuckle?
Yeah, like the thing that the first BKB I fought in, we had like one layer of bandages on your hand. They just wrapped your hand once. So when I was getting hit, it was like someone was like rubbing sandpaper on my face. It was weird because there was no glove and there was this like layer of hard bandage, and I was like, fucking, and it felt like a burn. You know, someone like chucking hot water on your face. And like, if you ever get Daniel Lewell on, he fought on. I got him involved. Well, I didn't get him involved. I put his name. He asked me to thing or whatever. And he said, "Oh, what's it like getting burn hit?" I was like, "Dan, it's like someone's fucking throwing hot water on your face." And he come out of the ring after his first fight, and he said to one of the boys, he went, "Fucking hell, Lilley's right. It's like having hot water chucked on my face." Because with those wraps on, it's weird because it's like it's not the skin on skin, the skin on bone like type thing. It's like sandpaper. So that was a bit weird. But then obviously they've taken away from it now. They just wrap your wrists because it was a little bit pointless having your hands wrapped. But one of the biggest differences you'll find is even with MMA, when you got the gloves on, you've got like a tiny little bit of protection. So when you're holding your glove up to your face, another glove would stick when you're trying to punch through it. You know, you get caught because you've got just your hands. It's more often than not that the fist will slip through the guard. Like, you know, you've got to more like parry and turn and shit.
Turn with the punch, roll with the punches, like.
Yeah, unless like some of them are crazy and they don't care. Like, yeah. But I'm too good looking for that at the minute.
did it take you a while to get used to that then, training it? Like, was Wally training you and stuff?
Yeah, Wally was training me, and well, in the beginning, it's a bit weird. I've gone through quite a couple of trainers in BKB, and it's just like a victim of circumstance. I was training with Darren Pullman, but he had a British Boxing Board of Control license, and they frown on it. They frown on MMA. They frown on fucking boxing. So if they catch you doing it, they'll what's it called? They'll ban you. So he couldn't come in my corner. So for the first fight, I was training with Wally for MMA and training with Dan for boxing. And I can't remember why. I can't remember why Wally couldn't make it. It might have been when he was ill. So I had to take my brother and my cousin up in my corner. Now, my brother and my cousin, right, they're like, I've grown up with them. They both love their boxing. My cousin's box, but they've never cornered, never watched a bare knuckle fight. And they were drinking cans in the car on the way up. I was like, for fuck's sake. So we get up there and like said, my brother and my cousin, we've grown up together, so we're all like brothers. So they're just fucking bickering the whole fucking time in the corner. My cousin's like, "You gotta get hyped up. You gotta get angry." And I was like, "No." I was like, "I'm fine," you know. And so that was funny. Then the next time I had Dino Gambatessa and Dione in my corner. Then I had a guy, Dai's brother, from my second fight. And it was all this. It was because I was jumping between places. And then I hooked up with Josh and Wally full time. And to be honest, since then, we've changed my style a bit. And it's because I almost lost a fight. I almost lost the third fight. But since then, I've changed the way I fight. Like, you know, it's I FaceTimed my daughter after my fight, and I had all lumps and bruises, and she was still awake. I FaceTimed my wife, and my daughter was still awake, and she started crying when she seen my face. I thought, "Oh, fuck this! I can't come on looking like this anymore." Yeah. So that was like a kickstart to start changing my style a little bit with the way I fought, rather than just going looking for like a scrap. I started bringing my boxing into it a bit more.
Yeah, I was watching some of your fights back the other day on YouTube, and I don't know what you do for conditioning, but you got a hell of a gas tank on you as well. You're like always marching forwards.
Yeah, it's weird that it's because if like you speak to like fucking Wally and Josh, I'm not the most hardworking guy in the gym. Like if it was up to me, I would go to the gym, do 5 rounds on the bag, 5 rounds on the pads, do my running, and that'd be it. But like with Josh Kagan, like he you know, he's been on boxing all his life, and he's a super fit PT down in Funky Pump. So he does all my strength conditions and does boxing specific stuff. And I hate it. Like for me, I only go to the gym because I've got fights. Like, you know, I don't like going to the gym. I like running and I like doing like the classes and I like to do jiu-jitsu, but I don't like doing the fitness and things. So I complain I won't, but he always gets me in shape. Yeah. But I also think one of the biggest things is because I've done so much fighting, like MMA, pro boxing, I just seem to have this like this internal like clock inside me. And I just when I'm in like a boxing ring or in the cage, I just don't seem to get tired. Like, you know, it's weird. I've been out on the piss all weekend and someone's rung me up and said, can you come help me out with some rounds? And they've picked me up in a car and I've gone and I've sparred and I've done 10 rounds, no problem. It's weird.
You just got that, in, like you said, your body's just so used to fighting. You just, when you have to do it, you can do it. But like your Instagram, over 100 fights, is it?
Yeah, I think I had about 70 amateur boxing, and I think I've had 30 odd like pro across like MMA, boxing, bare knuckle. Like I've had an unlicensed boxing fight, you know. So I had about 110 fights, I think.
That's fucking unbelievable.
I know.
How old are you? 35, you?
34 at the minute. 35. Oh, fuck. Yeah. It's all right. Like I said, I feel like the best I've ever felt. You know, yeah. I know some of my stuff is not what it is, but like I spar pro boxers, people who just turn in pro, and they're like, you know, they always come to me for advice. So I'm like the old head now, and I think because I've looked after myself, you know, I've never been like a big pisshead. I do like a drink, don't get me wrong, but I've never wanted to go to the pub just have 3 or 4 pints. I'm either out or I'm not out. So I'll either go to the pub and I'll have a Coke, or I'll go to the pub and I'll have like 20 pints, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know what it is. It's weird. Like, I'm the same with like my sleeping as well. Like I'm sleeping by 9:30 most nights, and then I'm up like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just some fucking weird thing. It's fucking just a weirdo. So
no, it's not weird. I just think you're built like, I got a few mates like that. But do you know Tom Barry? He's like fucking top of the man in jiu-jitsu at the minute.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
He used to play like, I don't know, he won't care me saying this, but like he was a really good rugby player as well, and he'd play for Neath and all that jazz. And like you said, he'd go on the fucking piss like Friday. He could go on the piss like 3 days straight, and then get up, go and play against fucking Swansea in the Knoll for Neath, and have like a man of the match performance. You know what I mean? He's just, I don't know what it is with him. He's just got that. I don't know, like what you've got. You know, you can just
it's weird, mate, because we've had friends back to the house for a drink after town. Like everyone's gone to bed like up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up at 7 and making everyone breakfast, and they're like looking at me, and I'm like, "What's the matter?" They're like, "It's only 7 o'clock in the morning." I was like, "Oh, I thought it was later," you know, because I don't know. I just got that fucking like dog in me. Like it's weird.
Yeah, I fucking wish I was like that. 1 or 2 pints. And, like some days I'll have a couple of pints, even like 4 or 5, and it feels like the next day I've had 20 pints. You know what I mean?
No, but, I think it's something to do with what you drink as well. Because like everyone's like, "Oh, drink red wine is better for you." I had a bottle of red wine about a month before my last fight. I woke up the next day and my head was screaming at me. I was not drinking that again, right?
Fuck, not white. Wine is the devil. Do not, respect the grape as well, mate. Black wine, I won't touch it. Oh, because even thinking of it makes my hair stand up because I've had so many rough nights on wine, you know. Have you like you good mates like John Phillips and stuff?
Yeah, I grown up with John. He only lives about 10 minutes down the road from me. Not even that bit, 5 minutes. He lives. I grown up with John. He was he used to live a road behind my parents' house, but he was like 2 years older than me in school, so he was always like one of the older boys. He's always someone like I looked up to in the gym, and then as you get older, you know, you start knocking about together, and then I end up moving in with him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, one of my best mates. 2 of the other time we were all cage fighting, and it was Marley Swindles and Di were living in one flat, and John was just finished with his missus, and he was living in his house, and he had a big house at the time. And me and my mate were looking for somewhere to live. So John was like, "Oh, why didn't you all move in here?" So the 5 of us moved in together, and it was a bit like the Ultimate Fighter house, but we were all going training, and we used to go out because like we were all single at the time, We were all working, so we were like living like the student lifestyle, but you know, we always had money because we were all working full time. So we'd go out and be like, we go up to like a nightclub, like we said, like till 4 a.m. We'd all train together the next day. Then it was fucking crazy. Like it was a crazy year.
Because it's all of you together, like you said. If one's a bit like, oh, I can't be fucked, you're like, no, come on, we go in, and you kind of go together, like,
like as you can imagine, like they'd come in your bedroom, drag you out to bed, you get your clothes on, you'd salt on the way to the gym, then I'd have a laugh, and it was good. It was when MMA was relatively young on the scene, when John was running a couple of shows in Oceania. Like, you know, we used to, they bought a bus because John had his own gym at the time, and we should all just jump in this bus and we'd drive all over the country just looking for fights and stuff, and we'd be in shows in Stoke, we'd be in shows in I think it was Chester Race Course, and we seen Rampage Jacks, and we'd drive all over the country just like a team of us. It used to be classic. It used to be like the old amateur boxing days.
Well, you drive them to look for a fight or watch fights?
Well, no, we'd have fights. Like John would speak to a promoter and he'd be like, yeah, we can get fights too. So we'd all jump in a bus, drove up to Stoke. We all had a fight in Stoke. Week after then, or a couple of weeks later, they're like, yeah, bring your boys up to Chester. We got a cage show in Chester Racecourse. We'd all got there. And I only just started watching UFC. Like, I didn't know much about it. And like, we're sitting in the audience watching. I think Marley was fighting. And turned next to me, and fucking Rampage Jackson was next to me. And I was like, all right.
What's happening?
Yeah, he was training when he in Manchester at the time. I think it was Wolf Slayer. Is that what it was called? Wolf Slayer?
I'm not sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was an old gym, and he was over here. So, like, he was next to me then. So I was like, all right, you know, it was crazy. Like,
that is mad, yeah. No, Reza was asking, like, John, I don't know what he's up to now, but I always tell him, mates, I'm like, why the fuck isn't he doing bare knuckle? He hits like a track, like, do you know what I mean?
I think he wants, his future's in MMA. I think he'd do it, like, but I think he's still got some big offers on the table, but like, he's just had a baby, you know. He's I don't know what he's doing at the minute. He's training, getting himself back into it. So yeah, I can see him fighting again. I don't know if he'll fight before the end of this year, but I reckon he'll have a good run at it next year.
Fair play, yeah. You say, because all his fights are like, if you get like the Hamzat fight, you would say Hamzat just fucking took him down, but anytime he's in a stand-up, fuck me, it's hell of a fight. You know what I mean? It's fireworks.
Yeah, you know, I'm not going to say he's been unlucky when he was in the UFC, because, you know, it's other people's game plan, but like, he was matched. I think he was matched a couple of times, and then they had pull-outs. He had to take short notice fights, and some of the boys were, you know, they could see, like, you know, not stand with him, and they were taking him down. And I think, like, he'll admit himself, like, a couple of fights he was too keen, gone for the punch, and they've shot in, and you know, and the problem is with UFC, you can't learn on the game, you know. So I think he was a little bit unlucky with some of his opponent choices, but it's the name of the game over there, isn't it?
So it is, yeah. At the end of the day, his record speaks for himself. He's got a hell of a good record, isn't he? And hey, if you're losing in the UFC, it's fucking hell. It's the best in the world, isn't it? Mixed martial arts, like.
You know, there's no shame in losing. You know, you're in the top 1% of fighters. You know, if you, like, I always say, it's like when you're a kid growing up, and if you're into football, you want to play for like Liverpool or Man U. That's what MMA boys want to do. Man United for them, or Liverpool, is UFC, and he's done that. He's achieved the dream. All right, it didn't come off, but he's fought in the biggest organization in the world, and I think he's got one of the fastest knockouts in middleweight history when he fought in Denmark. So, you know, there's something to be proud of. Like, no, I fucking tell him all the time. Like,
yeah, definitely, yeah. And back to like with you, James, like you said, I listened to one of your interviews or podcasts, and you were saying like you've got what ambitions you want to achieve, and like you're saying like you want to win a championship, you want now with BKB, you want to you listed off a few different ones, and then the next one was fight in America, wasn't it? Or fight overseas or abroad you wanted to do, didn't you?
Yeah, like,
and now that's coming true for you, like.
Yeah, I never thought I was going to go fight in America, to be totally honest. I thought, you know, I want to fight overseas, but America's like, that's the crown jewel. That if I go to America and I have one fight, win or lose, that's it. Then I can say I've done that, you know, not like some people box all their lives. Some people fight MMA all their lives and don't get to do it. So, 1 second, mate. Let me just see what my daughter's doing. She's shouting with me. Fucking kid.
They're on the podcast.
What's the matter? Okay, I'll be down now. 2 minutes. I'm just doing an interview. Say hello.
Hello.
All right, don't start arguing now. Say hello.
See me? Hello.
I'll be down now. 2 minutes. Bloody kids.
No, it's all right. I won't keep you too much.
No, it's all right. They usually behave if I tell them to behave, but they're fighting over iPads. So America, that would be like the crown jewel for me. Said some people fight, and like for me, BKFC's like the UFC of bare knuckle, and with the people they're signing. So you know, it's massive. Like, you know.
Have you spoke to David Feldman or anyone? Has he spoke to you on the phone?
Yeah, I spoke to him in a group with my manager and him when I signed. Yeah. And you know, he's like messaged a couple of times, but like they're super busy at the minute, and the time zone messes me up because I messaged my promoter like 8 in the morning, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, oh shit, sorry, it's fucking 3 o'clock in the morning over there.
Oh, your promoters in America.
My manager's America. Yeah.
Right.
Medical management. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're sorting it all out for you. So are they, you know, like to go over there now? Have you got like a work visa and stuff? Is that how it works?
Yeah. That's it. Only takes 5 days to sort it out, but I can apply for it myself, like BKFC. So I think that's one of the things that that was you know, slowing down the process at the moment. That's the big thing. Like once you got that P1 working visa, I think they last like 10 years. Yeah. So once you get that first one out the way, so that they're working on that. They've had a couple of meetings as solicitors. But the other thing was like obviously the new travel rules are coming into place in the 8th of November with the US and UK. And it's all about like the jabs and vaccinations and what vaccinations they they did approve some of the vaccinations we use. So it's fucking weird, mate. It's really weird.
And yeah, so once that's all sorted, like I said, you get a 10-year visa then. And then you signed a 5-fight deal, it was too?
5-fight deal, yeah.
Yeah, right. So like I say, you should have 5 fights, maybe more in 10 years, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. So it's a 2-year contract. So I'm hoping within those 5 fights to get a title shot, and then we'll see where it goes from there. You know, obviously, if I lose more than I win, it could be my last contract. But we'll see. Like, you know, I don't want to put like a definitive date on when I got to finish. It's just got to see what family, work, and life allows. Really. Yeah,
definitely. And like I say, you don't know what's around the corner in life, like you said. But like you said, the first Welshman flying the flag for us too, and you BKFC.
Yeah, it's
lights out, James Lilley.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Like, you know, I said to them, like when they said when you announce me now, don't announce me as British with a flag. Said put a Welsh flag up there.
Yeah, brilliant. Like I say, I love it. Like even do you see Mason Jones on the weekend? And his UFC?
I've watched the fight back. I didn't watch it live because it was on quite early, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on good time for us actually. It was like 8 o'clock in the night, but it's all I love seeing like Welsh people over in America. And like when he came out, he had the Welsh flag around him, but like he stood there for ages and he was just on the flag for a good 10-15 seconds, you know.
Yeah, what I like about like the Welsh fighters, especially down here, it's quite a small community. It's even with the boxers as well. Like everyone knows everyone. Like, you know, I don't know Mason personally. I've had a message with him on Instagram and I've seen him at the Cage Warriors show. But like when Brett was out there, like I knew Brett quite well. When Jack Shaw was out there, I've spoken to Jack before, you know, and you see these different boys like Lou Long. When John was going over there, I was going up with John. It's mad because you could walk past them in the street and you know them to say hello to. And I feel it's more of a, you know, we're not as big as England. It's more of a small community. So it's like watching your local football team. You're rooting for boys who are from your community. Like, it's mad.
Yeah, you are, definitely. And even like you're in, you know, when DC or Bisping's interviewing them and when the accent comes out, you know what I mean? But obviously, like Brett's like he's from Swansea, is he? Yeah, Swansea boy.
Yeah, well, he's from Bontiers, but
yeah.
We won't hold that against him.
But like I say, it's the accent, you know. It's not like it's like a thick Welsh accent, and
yeah,
proud, you could tell they're proud out in their interview. Like Mason Jones, you know, he's like shout out to Wales in my home country, and because Mason Jones, like, was he like the Valleys way? Is he Abertillery way?
Yeah, up that way somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I really love it. Like, you know, it's awesome. But no, awesome, mate. I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I won't keep
Thanks,
too
Sam.
much
You might have
longer.
said like I'm always up for a chat, so hopefully we can maybe do another one when I come back from the States or something.
Definitely. And when you announce your fight, I'll post it on my feed as well.
There we are. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I was hoping we could have a little bit of an inside scoop, yeah, you know, but you haven't actually got a fighter named yet, really, have you? So
no, to be honest, I've been messaging Chad Mendes, but he hasn't messaged me back. So I don't think it's him.
Heck yeah, when is he lined up a fight though? We don't know.
I think they were hoping to get him on in New York, but from what I've seen from his Instagram, it's early next year. It looks like they're going to have Mike Perry and Chad Mendes in January, so I think they're going to do a massive card in January.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other names I've heard they're looking to sign as well, and they're big, like ex-UFC names as well. So yeah,
like I say, they must be fucking paying all right. Like I say, all these people going across, and you know, even like
yeah, exactly. The way they structure, I think that they're doing like UFC style wages, so you win and your money increases, like, you know.
There's a fight of the night and all that. Chat.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to it. How do you watch it, BKFC? Because I just watched the highlights on like YouTube, Instagram.
They got their own app at the minute. I think it's called BK.TV.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
Because it used to be on Fight TV. If you've got
I got Fight TV. Yeah.
I think if you've got a dodgy stick, I think you can get it that way. Like, but don't tell them I told you that.
Yeah. No, I think I can watch Fight TV without the dodgy chip in it. Pretty sure I got it on my TV, yeah. But I'll double check. But
I think it's called bareknuckle.tv at the minute.
Yeah, right.
What they run on, but
you know, I'll check that later on, see. But that's awesome, James. And where can we find you on social media and stuff? You know, Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz?
Twitter, it's basically me talking about poetry, so you might not want to follow that one. It's
ask about that.
James Lilley 1411. My Instagram's James Lilley 86.
There we are.
I don't do Facebook.
No, I don't do Facebook either. Facebook's shit, man.
I fucking hate Facebook.
Yeah, just stick to the gram, I do. It's easier.
Yeah.
And for me, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, the CD Sport Podcast, and give me a follow on Instagram, the CD Sport Podcast also. So share the word on that one. Share the love. Thank you, James.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Lights out, James Lilley, everyone. Yo.